Okay, I think we got it. So thank you for popping back on with me. Alrighty, so tonight I'm going to do the spotlighting technique using designer series paper. And this will be recorded after the fact. So you can watch the recording if you're not seeing this live. If you have missed before what I do with my designer series paper, you know, we get these packs of beautiful paper that have two-sided paper in here, and I don't know if you're like I am, but sometimes I know I have a pattern that I want and I have to hunt for it. Well, this little system right here, this is the cardboard piece that comes on the back of every pack of designer series paper. Hey, Denise. So what I've done, it lists all the colors for you right here. So I just cut little samples of each of the papers. So you've got this on one side, this on the back, this on one side, this on the back. And then I put little swatches of what the cardstock colors are that are in the designer series paper. So when I'm going to look, I don't have to leaf through the paper. It's right there. Okay, so that is the pack that I'm using tonight. It is called Beauty of the Earth. And let me just put these away. So the spotlighting technique, when you use your stamps, you can make a card like this. Basically, you stamp your image twice and then you punch out one of them. I used this label die set and then I colored it in. So you are spotlighting or highlighting a portion of your stamped image. Well, you can do exactly the same thing with your designer series paper. So these again are all cards using paper in the pack. So this is a winter card, and I'm going to hold it close to the camera here just to show you. I don't know if you can see all of these little flecks of the embossing powder. I did not plan on that, but I forgot to run my embossing buddy or a Swiffer over the dark cardstock before I embossed, and I didn't get off all those other little flakes. But, you know, it really doesn't matter because it looks just like snow to me. And then I added my pearls to it. You know, there is always a way to use embellishments to your favor to cover up or add to mistakes. Now, the next cards here, this is just one side of the DSP and this is the other side of the DSP. Oh, Denise, you made 2 cards today. That's awesome. Hey, Kay Phipps. So glad you're joining us from North Carolina. So on this card, I also made another little boo-boo. And I am happy to show you when I make mistakes because I usually can figure out a way to cover them up. And then that way you learn something too. So for this card, the greeting I wanted to use was from the Banner Year stamp set, and it says, Happy Fall, Y'all. Well, I only wanted it to say Happy Fall. So here is the image, and what I did is I just took my Cajun Craze marker and I colored with the brush end of it. I just colored right on the Happy Fall, then I stamped it, and I cut it out using one of the labels, this one right here, from my Tasteful Labels dies. Y'all, this is I think, my favorite die set that Stampin' Up sells. It has so many perfect die cuts for your greetings. So on this one, when I stamped it, I noticed that I had caught just a little bit of the comma. So all I did is I sponged around here, and you can't even see it. So, you know, there's always a way to cover it up. And then on this one right here, this is this white crinkled ribbon. Well, I didn't want it to be white. I wanted it to be Mossy Meadow. I did not have the Mossy Meadow ribbon. So what I did was, dun da da da, I got out my Stampin' Blends and I just used the side of it. Look how easily that colors your ribbon. And it goes through onto the other side. So if you don't have a color, but you have white or vanilla, just pull that out and you are ready to roll. Okay, let me show you now how I put this card together. And I'm going to show you my little hack that I use to save paper. So my card base is a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inches scored at 4 1/4. So we're just going to fold that over here on the score line, and we are going to give it a good crease with our bone folder. If you prefer using this end, use that end. It does not matter at all. Now, the trick to this, doing this type of a card, is you need to have 2 die cuts that are similar in size. One is a little bit smaller than the other. I used my layering circle dies. For this card right here, I used my stitched rectangles, and I used this one and I used this one. You could also use squares if you have that. You could use pretty fancy labels as long as you have different sizes. Okay, so the next thing you need is a piece of your designer series paper, and that's going to measure 4 by 5 1/4. Let me bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I've got my machine here, and what I'm going to do is take the smaller die, and I am just going to position it wherever I would want the cutout to be. So in this case, I put it up here so I would have room for my greeting here. You could also turn it this way if you wanted to. So we're just going to roll this through. Okay, and then this is where my paper saving hack comes through. Okay, so now this was the piece I wanted, but I've got this piece here. Let me get my machine out of the way because we're done with that. I did the other one ahead of time. So we're going to take our card base, and then we're going to use our multi-purpose glue, and hopefully it's going to come out, yay, like it's supposed to. Sometimes it doesn't. And you know what? I love using my silicone mat because if you get glue, you just wipe it off and it doesn't stick. So easy peasy, very slick. So now I'm going to put down this card layer. Now watch. Here is, okay, we're just going to see here where I got that piece from. We got to roll it around. Okay, so can you see here? Here's how it matched in there. You could have taken another piece of designer series paper and cut it out of the same spot, but why? You've got the piece you need, and the next size circle that I did with cinnamon cider was this piece right here, this size, and then once I layer it on here, it's going to just cover up that hole. Now you might wonder how I know the size I need for this die cut. So what I do is I take whatever die cut I'm using, and here is where the cut line would be of the paper. So I just put it right on here on top of the lines. So then this is 3.5. So I know then that my piece just needs to be 3.5 by 3.5. And if you want to get really stingy with your paper, you could probably just go to a little tick to the left of the 3.25 line. But you know, 3.5 works for me, so that is what I used. Okay, so now I just wanted to show you that piece. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put my layer on my little circle here. All right. So, and the reason I like to use the liquid glue, see how it moves around? So if you get it in the wrong spot, it's forgiving and you can go ahead and get it down. All right, now then, we are going to figure out where our spot was again, where our paper was, and it was right here. Let me hold that up. So can you see here now how the paper matches on all of the lines? So that is the part that you're spotlighting. So now all you have to do is either take your glue and put it there to make it stick down. And don't move it too hard. You don't want it to come off where it's supposed to be. The other thing you can do, if you prefer, is you can use your Stampin' Dimensionals. You do it the same way. Just lift up your corner, shove your dimensionals in there, and go around. And that is just as easy as can be. Then the only other thing left is to put on your sentiment wherever you want it. And again, if you wanted to do your spotlighting, you could turn it this way. Isn't that cool? And I just love how you can, I want to put a little more glue under there. It's not sticking down exactly how I want it. And the good thing is this glue dyes clear. So if it's kind of scooching out on the edges, it doesn't matter. So, hey, thanks, Marty. It is kind of clever. The good thing is, if you had like a little piece you wanted to spotlight, you could do that as well, and you could still cut it out of your paper, because the key to whether you're doing a stamped spotlight, you're always going to have, or typically you're going to have a layer underneath it that will offset it. Sometimes what I've done too is just have the circle or this piece and put a lot of dimensionals on there, and then I don't have a layer underneath. but I think it looks better like that. So, do y'all have any questions on that? Let me just pop over to my computer and see if you do. Okay, I don't see any questions right now, but if you have any, even if you're trying this technique and you want to leave me a question, leave it here on this post and I'll get a notification. You can email me at ann@stampmaven.com. And remember, we've got 9 of our Designer Series paper on sale for 15% off. So instead of $11, it's $9.58. And if you like to use the Designer Series paper, then hey, I would stock up. And this Beauty of the Earth paper I love because, like I showed you on this card, this is a winter pattern. There's fall in here, and fall and winter are coming up. So that is a great pack to get. And actually, this Beauty of Friendship stamp set and dies kind of go along with that paper. And that's where I got this greeting, Friendships Refresh the Soul. That is one of my favorite greetings that I use. It just, friendship does refresh the soul. And I am fortunate to have a lot of wonderful friends, many of them I didn't know before Stampin' Up, and they're either other demonstrators or they're customers, like Carol, who has just become a dear, dear friend. And I think Rhonda was on here too. Yes, Rhonda, you're still here thinking about getting that set. Rhonda's become a dear friend. So I just love what I do. And if I can help you in any way, please do get a hold of me. And if you do want to get any of the Designer Series paper, my Stampin' Up site is annbrown.stampinup.net, and I would just so appreciate it if you purchase from me. Before I let you go, this week's newsletter, I've got a brand new project for you that is exclusive for my newsletter subscribers. And in case you missed it last week, I have all the info about my mystery boxes. So if you don't get my newsletter, pop on over to stampmaven.com. That's my website. And you will see a purple box, of course, since I love purple, in the right-hand corner. You can put your name and email in there. And then at 1 o'clock tomorrow, when my newsletter comes out, you will get it. And you'll also, before that, get a free tutorial for a really fabulous card. So anyway, I hope you all have a fabulous evening. And I may not be with you next Monday. My husband and I are going to California. Some of you know my brother passed away suddenly last year, just in May. And I'm actually meeting his widow and her 2 boys, and we are going to spread my brother's ashes. So I'm coming back Monday. If we get home early enough, then I may just have a live and have something else fun for y'all. So anyway, have an awesome evening, and I will see you next time.